Hey, product bosses, have you heard? We're doing a 5-day completely free challenge starting Monday, May 10th. Join us. It's absolutely free.
It's called Bestseller Secrets Challenge. Thousands of product bosses have gone through it and have transformed their businesses in just 5 days. We are going to help you lean into what is selling right now by teaching you how to look at your numbers, understand what your customers actually want to buy from you, and how to use your best sellers to grow a thriving business. So you aren't just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks. We want to help you pandemic proof your business, and we are going to do it together. So go to www.bestsellersecretschallenge.com. We'll put that link in the show notes to make it really easy to sign up. And if you have already taken the challenge, we are inviting you to go through it with us again. Your business has probably changed, and this free challenge will really help you build a sustainable and profitable business.
The Bestseller Secrets Challenge starts Monday, May 10th. It's 5 days of trainings and lives created to help you grow. Join us. It's totally free. You can sign up at www.bestsellersecretschallenge.com. Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Mina Kumlo-Sitep, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my cool co-host, Mina Kumlo-Sitep. Couldn't say Kumlo and cool.
I was vibing on that. I liked it.
Thank you. It was a little bit of a tongue twister as I started it. I'm so excited to have you all here today. We are going to get into what's working now for product businesses in 2021. We are well into the year. We've seen the trends. We work with at this point, thousands of businesses, and we see what's happening for them. We see what's working and perhaps what's not working. We see the changes and the trends, and we wanted to share it with you today.
Yeah, I love this because we're doing it after we've gotten through first quarter and now we're, into second quarter. And then third and fourth quarter are typically really big seasons, right? So there's still time, this is the other half of the year, to really take what we're saying and put it into like mega action. And so this will be a great episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to jump right into all of this. And this is something, with our multi-stream machine students that we have really been cued into. And as we've been helping them through their processes, and, they have a Facebook community, we've been seeing them talk. And we really wanted to just get really clear on this for what we've seen in the trends and then what we would love for you to consider and think about to make 2021 work for your business. So one of the first things that we're seeing that's really important that's working for product-based businesses in 2021 is diversification. So What is diversification, Mina?
It means just being in more places than one basket, right? You always hear us say, don't put your eggs all in one basket. And we hear about diversification in all sorts of revenue streams, income streams, however you want to say it, service, product, everything. It's kind of like a buzzword that's always been around because of how important it's been. Diversification is really important, even on the personal side of finances, as well as the professional side. So when you're thinking about this for product businesses, this really hit hard for 2020, the need for diversification. The people that did have multiple streams of revenue were the ones that were able to move forward because they weren't stuck in having to start anew. And even if they did, they knew that, this is a way that I'm diversifying, for example.
Yeah. So what we saw in 2020, where a lot of people's eggs were in one basket, they were selling, in person. Mm-hmm. And in person was shut down. And they were like, what do we do? And we were like, get online as fast as you possibly can, right? That was in the very first few weeks. I know, not to bring up like PTSD of the shutdown, but that's
Mhm.
what happened, right? And people were like, what do we do? Do we sell? Do we not sell? We're like, you need to get online, you need to start selling. The other thing that we saw at that point was that retailers had to close. So people, we had, students in Multi-Stream Machine, we had masterminders that had hundreds and hundreds of retailers that they were selling to. So a big part of their business relied on other businesses to keep their doors open. And that shifted because those retailers had to get online quickly. They had to figure out how to sell to their customers. So we saw this need in 2020 as a forced diversification. So many of you gave us pushback. No, this is the way I've done it. This is the way I've always done it. And then with that forced change really catapulted the industry by a decade. That's the consensus in the industry is that, we've moved forward 10 years on how quickly people got online, on what Facebook and Shopify and Instagram and all these different things did for the industry. Also the fact that, you could, pre-order, you can order something from Nordstrom's now and they'll bring it out to you at curbside pickup. There's Louis Vuitton, they'll bring it out to you curbside pickup. There's different places that you would have never thought would cater to you even more, but they
Mhm.
will. And that was sort of forced in this realm. So as we're moving into 2021, we're starting to see a shift again. So we're seeing that while online is still very strong, consumer buying habits are kind of changing again. The more people that are getting vaccinated, the more people that are leaving their house and kind of living their life in a different way that we have for the last year, they're starting to have maybe they want to go to stores again. Maybe
Mhm.
they want to go to an in-person market. And so we need to be aware of your consumers' habits, the buying habits, and make sure they're always diversified, but also paying attention to those habits, because then you will be where they need you to be so that you can keep selling.
Right. I love this because last week you heard us talk about really kind of honing in your messaging to be known for something. Now, this is the same thing. This is the same thing because we're not saying do all the things, because diversification can be making new products, getting into new markets. What we're saying is diversifying a little bit new markets, like you're diversifying the eyes that you're in front of. You're diversifying by getting on different platforms, whether it's getting into boutiques and or getting again into in-person trade shows or getting online, right? Those are just the same products that you've always been talking about, maybe adjusting and making sure your messaging clear to right now, but being in those places where your customers are, diversifying the sales channels that are possibly open to them now that they're moving through their life. They're buying in this kind of this blended world that we're seeing.
Yeah. And so Etsy, for example, we've heard that some people are feeling like Etsy sales are down. Right? Etsy sales were up at some point. They feel like their Etsy sales are down. They don't own their lists if they sell on Etsy, if they sell on a platform like that. So one thing that we encourage, and a lot of Multi-Stream Machine students that end up, joining Multi-Stream Machine, their goal is that they can have their eggs in more than one basket. Maybe they have it in the Etsy basket and they're ready to move on. I mean, we've worked with the top 1% of Etsy sellers that then realize at some point they need to build out their own website, right? They need to start growing their own email list. They need to be seen. Maybe they do decide to dip into wholesale. Because what happens
They get
there?
into Amazon, lots of different things.
Yeah. So what happens there is that, and this could be for anyone, like maybe you started with in-person trade shows, but then you need to have a website. And then same thing, maybe you can start selling wholesale, for example. Maybe you can optimize your website. Because the idea here is that you're in front of more eyes, right? You're in front of other
Mhm.
people's audiences. There's a benefit to that. You're diversified in the way it's the same with like investments. If they're investing in stocks and bonds and all the things, if someone's investing your money for you, you tell I know a lot about this. They have them in different places, right? If it's all like, I'm betting all on black. If you always only bet on black, if it's red for the next, bunch of roulette spins, then you're not going to make money. But if you have it diversified, then you will. So we just
Mhm.
want you to keep that in mind as we go into this year, looking at what's happened, what the trends are, how people are going to continue their buying habits and patterns, but then also paying attention to these ups and downs of maybe they leave their house and they're shopping. And then you want to be somewhere where they can buy it in person. And then you also want to be there so they could buy it online, which leads us into the second part of what's working in 2021.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear that when we say eggs in more than one basket, that it's the same eggs. It's not getting a whole bunch of eggs because you're creating all these products, right? That's not the diversification we're talking about. We're talking about diversification of income streams, of revenue streams, right? You're taking those eggs and just putting them in more baskets. So
you might be taking your bestseller.
Yeah, right. Your bestseller. And then if one basket gets knocked over, you still have these other baskets. So do not get confused in what we're talking about today.
And so, I just, sorry, now that we're like leaning into this one more, just real quick about that. Okay. So let's go back to the bestseller idea. Let's go back to Little Labels, Mina's company with her baby bottle labels and, and that sort of thing. So she knows her Peel and Stick, Animal Friends are her number one bestseller. So if Mina has that and she sells direct to consumer, through her website, and Mina then also sells it on Amazon, and she knows on both, that's the thing that sells every day, all day, every day. Then all of a sudden, a subscription box reaches out to her and is like, hey, we want to have your product in our subscription box. What should we have? She would probably say, my baby bottle Animal Friends Peel and Stick stickers, because she knows that the majority will like that. And then that will help pick up other customers from their audience. If a retailer came to her and was like, hey, we want to sell your product in all of the Toys R Us's, I don't think they're around anymore. No. Okay, imagine.
Yeah, something equivalent to a Toys R Us.
All the Targets, kids section, and they're like, what do we start with? She'd be like, my bestseller is the baby, the Peel and Stick Animal Friends, right? She knows all day, every day she can sell those. So that would be the thing that she leaned into as she diversified on the other platforms. So think about what that is for
my
you.
Sales channels, right? Yes. Not my product selection. So I don't want to confuse anybody by saying, do a whole bunch of things to diversify. It does not mean your product line,
right?
Okay. So the next one is super important. And I'm actually really excited about this one because, I love anything that's a hybrid or a blend or,
just like your wines.
Yeah. An evolution, right? Yeah. Wines, coffees, all of it. Right. I love things that are like multiples in one. So this is really the blend of in-person with online, right? So online, offline, whatever it is, there's going to be a hybrid of how we all move forward. And that is in consumer buying, that's in consumer selling, all of it. We're connecting in that way that, we've adopted this way of life that's become blended because we've been stuck in our homes, but we've been shopping online. And now that we get to get out of our homes, this whole other life has been happening that it's all blended together now. We're transitioning and evolving in a different way where it's all blended together.
So here's a good example. In person and online, that hybrid, right? Okay, so some people are leaving their houses more than others, depending on where you are in the world. You all have a different experience. But I can start to order, like, for example, Starbucks all day, every day now. If you don't want to go through drive-through, the biggest thing that happened with Starbucks, for example, is you could place your order for coffee for Starbucks online and you could walk in and pick it up. That feature was around pre-COVID. But how many people used it? I know that we used it in a commuter town, for example. We, when my husband would go get on the train heading into New York City, we would pre-order it. He would run in quickly, grab his coffee, and then go up to the train. That was really big. But Mina, you in Iowa, would you park your car and walk in to get it?
Or would you go through drive-thru? I don't even know if they offered that at Starbucks around here, but I do know that before COVID, I did the Panera pickup. They have the wall and it's alphabetized and you go pick it up. And what's so funny, side story, one day my sister and I both ordered from there and I saw her name and my name. It was so funny. So we both thought of Panera at the same time. And so that was around, but now it's everywhere. It's common. Right. We've all adopted, even young people, old people, everybody.
All the people. And all
Iowans, coastal people, everybody. So now it's just become a way of life that we now it's common.
Right. So it's the ability to order online, to pay, right? You get, you don't have to worry about finding your credit card and putting it in. Like it's the credit card's stored in a lot of these apps. You could do it. And then you could, pick delivery, you could pick pickup. There's things like that have been this hybrid of that in-person and online experience. They could make their transactions online. They could still take to the in-person experience of actually leaving their house and going to get it. There's also, the idea of ordering online and you can deliver. There's still the idea of curbside pickup, retailers, brick and mortar. Still, people might not want to walk through the store. So there's still ways to bring that out for them. Still virtual shopping, right? There's all these ways you can do it. so we're seeing this happen. I think even Starbucks had announced last year, I'm not sure if they rolled it out yet. They're going to start having walk-up windows for Starbucks. So you don't even enter into the physical building, but rather there's an outside window that you walk up to,
You know what's so funny? Old becomes new again, right?
right?
Before it's only Sonic that did that, where it's like the, throwback to the diner that you get to walk up and all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Even
And now
In-N-Out
it's,
Burger, my old
yeah,
In-N-Out used to have a walk-up window.
but it felt like, oh, that's like something that was like an old thing, right? And now things are coming back. First of all, bell-bottom jeans. I'm pretty sure.
Because we've heard that skinny jeans and mom jeans are like not, we shouldn't be doing that anymore.
I don't know if they call them bell-bottom, but they're like flare ones now. Secondly, walk-up windows.
That's it, guys. That's it. 2021. We're done.
I mean, I'm out of the trends, but I know those two things are in.
So thinking about that in-person and online hybrid experience, we're going to see retailers do this. So if you sell wholesale or you want to sell wholesale, you're going to see certain bigger, retailers change the way they do certain things. It may have happened due to the pandemic, but it will continue as long as that trend or that need stays there. So I really think that you all, a good idea would be to follow some of these trends, maybe sign up for a certain email list with bigger brands that you like, pay attention to some retailers that you shop at and see the things, watch the changes, pay attention to the trends of what they're doing and think, how could I integrate that in some sort of way into my business? Or how could I be a part of this trend? We saw that, Mina and I were some of the first to talk about, we saw what was happening in the restaurant industry last year immediately.
Yeah.
Certain restaurants were doing ingredient based at home cook your
Like
own type
kits,
stuff,
basically.
kits.
Mhm.
And then we pushed that idea of kits for our community and we're like, can you take your raw goods and give them something to do?
Mhm. They were delivering a brand experience, right? So that really was them giving the brand experience. Another example of online plus offline is collaborations. So right now, small businesses have really, we know the power is greater with each other. And so if you're an e-commerce business, like if I, with Little Labels, I'm mostly e-commerce, right? I actually never have people do pickup at my door. But if I were to want to offer something, I could actually ask the local coffee company if I could have pickups there, right? That was something that we saw with, I had ordered creamed honey for Jacqueline from an apiary here in Ankeny. She was driving through, but I was able to pick it up at the local coffee shop. Right. So you see that in different ways. It could be your natural skincare that they order online, but they have to go into the local salon to get it. Right. And that for the local brick and mortar gets foot traffic in there. Right. So even if they don't get a cut of it, which they could, they still get people that come in that salon are like, oh, that's cool. I'm looking around. I'm actually physically showing up and maybe I'll be a patron in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So just really thinking about the in-person and online hybrid, we never want you to lean too far one way or the other. Obviously, the global pandemic shutdown, that was a forced sort of needing to get online situation. But now as we're easing back out of it, what is the experience that you can create and how can you pay attention to trends that are happening and what can you bring into your business? So again, those of you that are going back into in-person, markets, how can you get those email addresses and bring them to shop from you later online? How can you start to relate the two when you're showing up in front of your customer that you can bring them to all of your platforms to sell more, right? Because that goes back up to the first tip, which was diversification. We want them to shop from more than one platform, that it's not solely reliant on you being in person and that's where they can buy, and not solely reliant on them thinking, let me go to your website and buy from you there. And this does take work from you. So our next thing that's working for 2021 that we want to share with you is that your business is more than your product.
Mm-hmm.
What you sell is more than your product.
Yeah. Perfect example what Jacqueline just talked about with the restaurants. It was more than the spaghetti noodles and spaghetti sauce and meatballs and butter, right? It was all of those put together that you took that kit, you brought it into your house, you experience that with your kids and you're still able to enjoy all those things that you were before. What was it that sold out? I can't remember. Oh, I remember DoubleTree cookies. So DoubleTree cookies, because there
That's
was
right.
not any hotels that were, open at that time, they give away their recipe, and
Yep.
also IHOP too, right?
Yeah, there were restaurants giving their recipes away of things that they would
Yeah.
have never given away, but
Yeah.
they wanted to reinforce the brand experience. People will stay at DoubleTree just for the cookies. And I'm
The
just saying
warm
that from
cookies.
me. I will stay at DoubleTree just for the cookies. So the idea there is like they reinforced the brand without ever having to sell a single room or make a single hotel bed, but by making their marketing relevant and their messaging relevant and then letting people have that experience of the DoubleTree cookie. Do you think that people are still making those? Unless you are a DoubleTree cookie like addict, they did it. They
Mhm.
experienced it. It's not going to stop them from going to stay at
Probably got them
DoubleTree.
more addicted, and
Yeah.
now they'll probably want to stay there more so, you
And they can
know?
also, and it also will trigger a memory for them, right? DoubleTree showed up for me during the
Mhm.
pandemic. They gave, oh, do you remember that time we made those cookies at home? We made Dunkin' Donuts at home.
Yeah,
Trust me,
that
my
was
kids would
amazing.
rather go through Dunkin' Donut drive-through than, or Krispy Kreme. I forget what it was. I didn't do it because I was working and my husband was watching the children, but I remember there was a donut. But nonetheless, right? Like we'll remember that experience, but the ease factor will be that we'll end up buying from them instead of
Mhm.
making them ourselves.
Right. And it just goes to show you, even in the pandemic, I mean, we said it time and time again that people were really more thoughtful with their dollar. They still are. And it's really more than the product that they're buying. So, is it an experience? Is it a way for them to support a cause or perhaps a small business? Is it a way for them to, meet some desire that they want versus the physical product, right? What problem are you really solving for them, or what desire or want are you solving for them? So, really thinking about that, right? Your customer they want more from you than your product. And we really saw that in 2020.
Yeah, they want the messaging. They want how your
Yeah.
product's going to make them feel. A lot of times when we buy things, it's how does it make us feel or how does it make us appear? It is, is it extrinsic, external? I forget the
Yep, you're
word.
right.
Yeah. So it's sometimes it's like, yeah, it's not worth it. But, okay, here's a good example. In New York, women buy really expensive handbags and shoes in New York. Do you know why they buy really expensive handbags and shoes in New York?
So they can show it off.
Yeah, because they don't have cars. So I grew up in Los
Mm,
Angeles. I live New York. So Los Angeles, people invest in their cars. They have nice cars. Like it's like BMWs, Lexuses, like Teslas, all the things.
mhm.
Because they have to get around their car and it's a status symbol. So when you drive up, people can see your status based on your car. New York, they don't have cars. So how else do they show their status? They're walking around with their bags and their shoes.
Mm,
It's
mhm.
just another way to show it. And each of you, wherever you are, is somewhere. So sometimes someone's going to go pay for something because of what it means externally to the world and
Yeah.
also what it means to them to be able to buy that, afford it, whatever they wanted to do by wearing it, how they feel. So when you sell a product, right? Because let's go back to these bags. I know I talk about bags a lot, but now you know where my values stand. Um, so Chanel bag, Louis Vuitton bag, whatever it is, still made out of leather and
Mhm.
zippers and basic lining, right? What's different? The logo on it, the
Yeah.
print of the lining, the experience of buying it, and the value that people place on the name attached to it versus I buy another leather bag that's, I don't know, generic with no name. They could be made by the exact same factory out of the exact same leathers, but it's the value around it. So when you think about that, and I know I go to designer brands a lot, but that's because it's a really good example. I have a
Mhm.
Kia. Kia was built by I think they hired BMW, one of the like presidents or something of BMW. And when they came over, they made Kia more of a luxury vehicle
Mhm.
inside, but the price point is lower.
Yeah. And when you're thinking about let's do the flip side of that, right? Because
Okay.
we're going designer and big, big conglomerates here. But the flip side of that is small business. When you're thinking about more than your product, why are people buying your candles? Right? Is it the scent? Is it the memory? Is it the way that you present it in a certain way? Is it the packaging? Is it the gifting message that you put alongside it? Is it
Is it you?
yeah, is it you, the reason why they connect with you, that you're a small business, right? Is there a cause that you contribute to? So what are the things outside of even the physical product that they're buying that maybe it is a part of the product, that you give back or that you have a certain scent or, it makes them feel a certain way? That's what makes every business, thousands of candle businesses so special, is that each one is special in its own right because the difference is all of those things put together. It's more than the product. It's not like I'm just buying a candle, only buy that candle for the rest of my life. It's that each one has a difference to it when it comes to outside of even the actual physical product.
Yeah. So another one of our students, Sharon, she owns Balloost, and Balloost are pregnancy pillows that allows a mom to lay on her stomach while she's pregnant and to get comfortable. Well, Sharon's a chiropractor. She is a chiropractor. She worked on pregnant women, and then she found this need to create this pillow that women needed, because a lot of women still want to lay it on their stomachs. If you've been pregnant, like there's half of your pregnancy you're sleeping sitting up, but the other half you're sleeping with like a gazillion pillows around you. So why are they buying her product? Well, one, it's inventive. So check it out. Okay, we'll put that in the show notes. It's inventive. It's amazing, right? But it's backed because she's a chiropractor. They're going to buy it. It's more than the product because of all the information and data she gives them around it, because they trust her with their bodies. Because she could just come out with a pillow, or she could probably come out with anything, but being an expert from being a chiropractor and having this past experience that she has, she could probably sell them a lot of different things. So they're buying from her, they're buying from her expertise, they're buying from the knowledge around it. And the product happens to be a vehicle to meeting those needs that they were looking for.
Right. Because guess how many pregnancy pillows there are out there?
Guess how many we've owned?
So many, multiples, and so that's another way of, they're buying her specific one, because it's more than it's the fact that it's a pregnancy pillow. There's everything beyond that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's go over those again really quick, Jacqueline, so people can remember what is working now for product businesses in 2021.
Okay. So diversification. Remember, so you're taking your product and you're on more sales channels, on more platforms, you're diversifying. The second one is in-person and online hybrid experience. So what have we learned from 2020 and what are we bringing forward into 2021? And what's the new way of consumer buying habits? And the third one is that when people are buying from you, they're buying more than your product. So what are they buying? What messaging are they buying? How are you making them feel? It's the story. Are they buying from you? It is more than your product. So keep those in mind as we go through 2021 with you. We are so excited for all of you that have signed up for the Bestseller Secrets Challenge to see you inside. We cannot wait to dig into this week with you. And to all of our Multi-Stream Machine students, shout out to you that are in there and that have already started implementing what we talked about in today's episode.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you for being here and listening all the way through the Product Boss podcast. If you love our show and it has helped you in any way in your business, would you mind doing 2 things for us? Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. Reviews help other product entrepreneurs know that this is the place to be to grow their businesses and realize that they're not alone. And we know that you all know that a 5-star and honest review helps you sell more products to more people. So you know that your reviews help us reach more listeners around the world. Remember, what we give is what we receive, and we are all about helping each other in the Product Boss community. We are all in this together. We would be so appreciative of you if you could take the time right now to subscribe, leave a review, and even share this episode on social or someone you know so we can impact more lives. And remember, subscribing means that you will get notified each time we release a new episode so you never miss a thing. You have helped us grow and climb into the top 10 of all marketing podcasts, and together we can keep climbing. Thank you, friends. And remember, there is room at the top for all of us.
Hey friend, just a quick reminder to sign up for the Bestseller Secrets Challenge. It's a 5-day, totally free week of trainings, private Facebook group, and daily live Q&As with us. We don't want you to miss out on this opportunity to get really clear and focused on what you need to sell to grow a profitable, sustainable, and solid business. Head over to www.bestsellersecretschallenge.com and click on the link in the show notes today, right now.